Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are a friendly match here. I'm, of course, Schmont, and I'm here joined with William. William, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm very excited. Like this is one of the most beautiful project we could do for the beginning of this new era with Pokemon Champions. So I'm very happy to cast it with you, the
Oh,
goat.
I appreciate that a lot. I'm a big fan of yours as well. So, like, this is just us going to be fangirling over each other here right now. But we'll have a lot of fangirling to do because we have so many amazing matches to see about, like, honestly, stacked roster, stacked people, like strong players that we are seeing in this sort of new meta game. And then we've seen already a few teams pop out. Like the main mega we've seen is Mega Floette. But are there any things that you're hoping to see today?
Yeah, of course, Mega Flight will be a very important Pokemon because we all know what it is capable of. But I think that this exhibition match is a very good way to showcase also minor Mega Evolutions. So, like, I want to see meta teams just because there are some of the best players in the world to play. So I want to be able to watch a very good games, but also I want to highlight some maybe very good team building also. So like some very spicy pick maybe.
Oh, I will. I'm always a big fan of spicy picks myself. It just brings a little bit more of that excitement as well of like seeing something new arise. Because like I've seen people play the craziest stuff already on ladder. I've recently been beaten by a bullet seed simi sage with King's Rock, which honestly it's replacement Rillaboom. Just get
Yeah,
your
it's
fake out at
maybe
least.
a stronger version of Rillaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's like a very low power level of strength of Pokemon. Like we just came from Regulation E for Scarlet and
mm,
Violet with like two Ubers and
yeah,
a lot of power in the field, and
yeah.
now playing with Pokemon that have just low power level of attacks. It's like a little bit strange maybe, but it's another way to leave Pokemon and to leave VGC.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited also to watch something like very maybe slow games, like a lot of
Hmm.
repositioning, but with no Rillaboom inside. We haven't
Yeah.
seen her, of course, but yeah, I think there are a lot of ways to reposition that we hadn't explored in a very long time.
Yeah, it's as you said, we have a smaller pool of Pokemon, smaller pool of items as well, which is a first that we've ever seen as well. So with these limited things that we have a lot of megas, limited Pokemon, limited items. We see the creativity still build up, like people finding new ways to improve their teams left and right with some interesting tweaks, so to speak. Something like Mega Delphox has been interesting, even though people wrote it off earlier with like, oh, it has levitate. But right now, a viable Pokemon to have because it is immune to the strong earthquakes of like Garchomp, which is a very meta heavy Pokemon, and you have that resisted fire typing against things like Floette as well, and incredible speed to add as well. And that is what we're gonna see today as well. What these players have been cooking up already, as we have our matches here that you can see. Like we have some standout matches already. First off, I have to point it out, like Siri versus Polar Bear. That is just something that I'm very excited for to be able to see that today. Is there something that's popping out for you there, William?
Yeah, of course, it's easy to say we are all excited to see the two world champions of the last 2 years facing each other. They're also wonderful people, they're friends. So like, it will be a very good game to watch. But I was also very excited for maybe watching people like Pepe, for
Mm.
example, Anuragin Panda, Justin Tang. Uh, Torviv against Marco Fiero, which is a revival of the, I think the last LIC or the second to last,
Oh,
maybe. I
that's
just
true.
don't
Yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that
Yeah,
is
so
true.
like
That is
that's
exciting.
a very good game to watch, I think. So like there are a lot of names and a lot of good players and some of the best of the in the world, in the whole world.
Yeah, I can. That is. honestly, you're putting it right on the dot there. Like all of these names, you know them, you love them, you know their strongs, and they are bringing the entertainment today. Something you have to mention as well. You can mention yourself as well. You're on this list. Like hey, you did. You're on this list. How does that feel for you to be playing against like all these Goliaths? Do you feel like a little stress sometimes, or is it just for you like no, just another day in the office?
No, I was very very excited because like sometimes I just see myself like an outlier here because there are so many um, good players, and seeing my name here is a dream. Like I've been playing since I was 17 years old. If 17 years old me uh, watched this list and saw his name, he will be very very happy, and I am happy even if I 12 years later.
That's the great thing about Pokemon. Like it just fills you with glee left and right, and you are deservingly on this list. But speaking of this list, let's go look at our first matchup, which is going to be Genius versus Samu. Genius, of course, has the Lille Regional Top 16 in 2026, in 2025, and got second at the Bremen Regional. We're seeing a sort of Sun team. Is there something popping out for you?
Yeah. Genius is like the main Charizard Epsilon player that pops in my head when I think about Charizard Epsilon. I know that it will be Marco for a lot of people, and obviously so. But Genius just loves Charizard, and he was very hyped when he discovered that he could use Charizard Epsilon again.
Yeah.
But this is a team very with a very spicy pick, I could say, in
Yeah.
Snorlax, because he wanted some Pokemon to use under Trick Room, which was not Torkoal. He didn't want to rely only on Torkoal, so like Snorlax is surely a very interesting pick here.
Yes, Snorlax having that thick fat ability, so also resistant to those fire type moves from opposing Charizards, for example, Charizard wise. I'm actually kind of a fan. You still have body press to deal good damage to Incineroar, even though there's an Intimidate, for example. And we have Farigiraf with the Colbur Berry trying to make sure that no dark move is able to KO it, so you're able to set up the Trick Room. So, all in all, strong team. We've seen Venusaur Charizard work time and time again. Incineroar is the glue that holds the team together, and then we have our Trick Room core.
Yes. It's obviously a very solid team, like very Regulation H like, but with Charizard Mega, which is a little bit more reliable
Yeah.
than than its counterpart in Regulation H, I think, with the Solar
Yeah.
Beam and Choice Specs.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I do think it's also interesting to see that we have the Torkoal having body press. I can't remember for the life of me. Did Torkoal lose Earth Power? I might have forgotten that. I've not played Torkoal yet in Champions, but
Me
I
neither,
do
me
think
neither.
I
But
do think
I
it's
think body.
still good. Yeah, to hit the Incineroar at the very least with a good defensive stat there.
Yeah. It's 140 of stats, so like it is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at Samu's team, what we're up against here. So Samu, of course, known for Seville Special, got second in 2026, and also top 8 in 2025, and in EUIC 2026 got top 64 at EUIC. And we are seeing a different approach of more, instead of sun, we have some more offense. But I really actually am a fan of this of this Dragon Steel Fairy core here right now. And Mega Garchomp, not one of the megas that you've seen before. So this is a new addition in this new meta.
Yeah, maybe it will be the only meta in which Garchomp Mega is a little bit viable, which I don't think it's one of the strongest Mega available, but it has a very strong attack and a very situational, I think, ability
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think it will be in this game because there is no sand.
Yeah.
But I think that with the support of Milotic and Talonflame, he could do very well.
Yeah. No, I agree. Milotic is very nice with that competitive, being able to make sure if Incineroar comes in, you at least get a competitive move, get those boosted skulls into that Talonflame with the support of Tailwind as well. And honestly, one of the two key Pokemon we have to talk about are Floette and Basculegion. These two Pokemon have been on top of the list in this regulation. They have been performing time and time again in every tournament. Fairy Aura is an absolutely crazy ability to give to a Fairy type Pokemon that has higher base special attack than Fluttermane as well. So things to think
Yeah,
about.
and
Game
also
Freak.
higher than Xerneas.
Yeah, that's true. That's the crazy. Luckily, no Geomancy. Thank Arceus for that.
Now there is the weaker version with Calmine. Like
Yeah,
I want to highlight something more in this team that we are going to see a lot in this meta game, and
hmm
that we have two mega Pokemon, which is a very common thing in this meta game. Maybe the most common meta game with double mega ever. Like in 15, 18, 19, it wasn't so common to
yeah,
have two megas. Maybe in 2016 when you had Kangaskhan and Salamence,
yeah.
but like in this champions regulation MA, I see a lot of double mega teams, and it is very interesting because you can just choose how to approach games, how to approach matches, like in the same best of three. But
Yeah.
we are ready.
Yeah, let's see what the approach will be for these players. Genius versus Samu. We have the Sun versus somewhat balanced. So the leads are Floette and Talonflame from Samu. So immediately going off with a potential tailwind there, as it is a Venusaur and a Charizard on Genius' side. So Sun immediately being able to be set up. Venusaur could double its speed immediately. But thanks to that Gale Wings ability, Talonflame does have the ability to set up a fast tailwind or even go for an attack like do a wing beat.
Yeah. We have Venusaur that is weak to Talonflame, but it's very good against Floette. Like Floette in this situation has two resistance in front of it because like you have a fire type and a poison type, so not the best of the positions. But we know that Mega Floette just deals a lot of damage even to resistors. So very offensive leads from the both of them.
Yeah, we've seen like Floette do crazy damage as well after one Calm Mind. I've seen it win against even resist a 1v1, but we have the switch up from Venusaur into that Incineroar slot here, getting that Intimidate off, making sure that this Venusaur is safe for something like a dual wing beat from this Talonflame, as we have the Mega from Charizard, Mega Charizard Y in this first tournament, setting up the Sun and getting ready to give us some fire boosted attacks as well, as the Floette is following suit with a with a Mega Evolution, and making sure that the Fairy Aura is set up as well, as a strong Moonblast or even a Dazzling Gleam could still prove effective in the later game, as the Tailwind is coming up from the Talonflame.
Yeah, we have just like the two status moves being clicked. Like we have Tailwind to gain advantage of speed, and then Calm Mind to set up the Floette before Charizard hits, and so Floette is going to take less damage from the powerful Heat Wave from Charizard.
Yeah, with a Calm Mind up, you can see this Floette takes that Heat Wave quite comfortably. Now, with Charizard is still a resist, but it is a Calm Mind boosted Mega Floette, and I feel like a Moonblast, it won't KO it, but it will do devastating damage. But first off, protect yourself, because there's still an Incineroar with that Fake Out, as Talonflame is going for the taunt, making sure that this Incineroar won't be able to punish shot it late, like during these few turns, as Charizard is itself going for that Heat Wave, trying to get a little bit more chipped down, because the less HP, the better, of course, as Talonflame is able to survive with only 5 hit points remaining.
Yeah, and we saw that Genius went for the parting shot instead of the Fake Out, so the taunt from Samu was just perfect. Like maybe it was on the Floette, but now Samu doesn't have to be afraid of a parting shot giving Floette -1 in special attack, so that Floette just can give a lot of damage in this turn.
Yeah, okay, Talonflame going for the dual wing beat. Immediate crit, that's always great to see. If you are, of course, Samu, as now Floette will go for the Moonblast, predicting maybe that the Charizard will protect itself. Moonblast into the Incineroar, and Incineroar is gone. That is the power of Fairy Aura. Floette here right now. So Charizard still on the field, being able to Heat Wave, going to KO that Talonflame and doing quite a bit of chip to that Fluid, just bringing it down lower and lower as well. Now the question is,
we just
one
see
of these Pokemon
one
will switch
KO from each side, and the two support Pokemon, like the two fire support Pokemon of the match, are gone for this first game, and I think this might be one of the key turns. Like we have Venusaur from the side of Genius of Il Server, and Garchomp from Samu in Team Z, which we know can't Mega Evolve in this turn, in this game.
Yeah, no Mega Evolution, but still threatening nonetheless. There's still a turn of Tailwind up as the Sun still has 2 remaining turns as well, meaning this Venusaur's speed is doubled. Could be faster than the Fluid in Tailwind, depending on how it is trained, because of course this Venusaur is a Sash variant, so they tend to have not that much bulk and just go on in all offense, as the Garchomp itself is able to threaten still with some nice stab attacks as well. As the Venusaur is the one moving first, go for the Sludge Bomb, and that Fluid is done and out. Has been dealt with, as now Garchomp is the only Pokemon remaining on Samu's side, as the Garchomp is going for that Dragon Claw, breaking the sash on that Venusaur, and Charizard still hasn't been hit a single time, as it now will charge its Solar Beam, thanks to that Drought ability, being able to target it in one turn, hitting like nice for neutral damage and just a little under half.
Yeah, we know that Mega Fluet is always trained to be very bulky, so like even if it has a higher base starting speed than Venusaur is always 32 in speed, so it's very likely to outspeed Mega Fluet, and it was very clutch in this game one, where we see a little bit of advantage for Genius.
Yeah, the switch out happening right now. The Charizard going into Farigiraf, trying to maintain some for the following turn. The dodge here from the Leaf Storm here right now, as Last Respects doesn't work into that Farigiraf slot, as the Dragon Claw will pick up the KO onto that Venusaur, but that was a humongous dodge there from that Leaf Storm onto that Basculegion. Now the Sun will be set up once again. The Basculegion is locked in Last Respect, so he cannot touch this Farigiraf. That means that the Garchomp will have to do it all against this Farigiraf right now, as the Basculegion will have to try and deal with this Charizard on its own as well. So within this position, a little bit awkward, because if that Leaf Storm had connected there, it would have been game over, I felt, from Genius Head. But right now, with this kind of position, it seems very much harder, as the Charizard is opting for that Protect, trying to keep itself safe for just another turn.
Yeah. It was very unfortunate, but I think like that the Farigiraf can set up the Trick Room to move faster with either Charizard and Farigiraf next turns. So like the Basculegion must, I would say, go to the Charizard, because Last Respect is like no damage into Farigiraf, and we see that Farigiraf can take another Dragon Claw if it doesn't get crit.
Yeah, so that is the question here that arises. We're gonna go for the Psychic, double up onto the Basculegion, trying to make sure that this Basculegion will go down with the follow-up, as the Dragon Claw doesn't kill the Farigiraf, as he said, Solar Beam coming out into this Basculegion, which is of course weak to it. It is non-stab, but it's still a very strong attack, as it goes into it, and it will pick up the kill, and only the Garchomp shall remain, as now we have a little bit of an interesting speed sandwich, as the Farigiraf is the fastest Pokemon on the field in this Trick Room, followed up by the Garchomp and then the Charizard.
Yeah. We can see that this Garchomp is like is lower than the Charizard, which is a little bit uncommon, I think. And it would suggest that either the Charizard is very, very fast, or the Garchomp, being a Mega Garchomp also, is trained very, very little in speed.
More towards that bulk. Charizard charging in Solar Beam, but just going into that Protective right now. So trying to stall out at least one more turn of Trick Room could prove to be useful in the following turn here, because right now you still have 2 Pokemon to deal with, but Garchomp has done crazier things, so to speak. Psychic coming out onto the Garchomp, doing quite a bit of damage here, as Garchomp is now going for the Dragon Claw into that Charizard. Not enough to bring it completely down, as Charizard will pick it up with a Solar Beam.
Yeah, and I think it is game 1 for Genius.
Yeah. Game 1 going over to Genius. Well played there. So the position, like, even though there was an immediate tailwind from Samu's side, immediately being able to counteract that with, you have the Sun, you have the Venusaur being there, even though the Incineroar was KO'd earlier, like quite fast as well, like even got taunted, got shut down. The maintaining of the full HP onto your Charizard Y is something very valuable, and certainly as well onto your Venusaur, as HP is also one of these resources that you want to try and maintain. And honestly, expertly played. Like, the Incin wasn't maybe the threat, so to speak. It has been dealt with, and then the actual threats being that Venusaur and the Charizard were able to clean up together with that Ferrograph.
Yeah, I think that Genius realized early that he had the offensive advantage from the lead, so he didn't even protect once, I think, just because he was perfectly set into this game 1 with the lead, because he just led with the double resistance into Floette, and also with the super effective Sludge Bomb into Floette. We can also see that the speed advantage is from the Genius side, because Charizard and Venusaur are very speedy against the Garchomp and Floette of Samu. So I think for Samu it will be very important to maintain the tailwind in order to attack before Genius Pokemon. And I think this could be the key for the game 2.
Yeah, let's see if they are listening to you right now. Game 2 starting. Let's see the adaptations, which I do agree. I might think that maybe Mega Garchomp might be the call, as we have Garchomp and Milotic on screen right now as Torkoal and Venusaur. So we have the Sun lead versus this Garchomp and Milotic, trying to make sure that if there was an Incineroar lead, there would be competitive boost. And now we have some options. You have Earthquake with the Garchomp, you have Scald, Icy Wind, and Helping Hand with the Milotic. And if I recall correctly, the Venusaur is just 4 attacks as well?
Yeah. He doesn't have Protect. It's like 3 attacking moves and Sleep Powder.
Yeah, Sleep Powder being able, of course, it is still able to hit, but Sleep has been nerfed within this game, where you're able to wake up guaranteed on turn 3, so you have increased odds of waking up almost immediately after that first turn. The odds are not that much in your favor, but it is still something to consider. Torkoal switching out, you set up the Sun. Let's go switch to that Charizard, trying to make sure that there's no Earthquake coming out, as the Garchomp is evolving, so we are seeing that Mega Garchomp this time.
Yeah, something that maybe 10 years ago wouldn't be so exciting. But I mean, see the first Sleep Powder, so like, okay, it's not that valuable anymore, but if the sleep turns go to it, they are very important.
Yeah, we can already see like the power difference, because what Garchomp loses in its Mega, it loses a bit of speed, but it gains in its attack and special attack. And we saw immediately that the Dragon Claw doing quite a bit more than earlier, as it did like just over half earlier, and now definitely doing about 70, as now the Charizard is able to Mega Evolve. Sun has already been set up, so right now this Venusaur could go for another Sleep Powder, but it's opting to go for the Leaf Storm onto the Garchomp and doing decent damage at the very least, as now only the Charizard is able to move from Genie's side. It is going to be that Solar Beam. Let's see who it targets, because it could pick up a kill maybe on this Garchomp. It is on the Garchomp, but the Garchomp survives!
Yeah, that's the 700 base power. The 700 total stats of Garchomp just being clutch in this game. Like, he did so much damage while resisting 2 very powerful attacks coming from a very important attack as Leaf Storm and 159 base stat special attack Solar Beam from Charizard. So like, it's very, very bulky, and I think in a team like this you have to be very bulky, because you have the tailwind from Talonflame, so you don't have to invest a lot in speed. So this Garchomp just did a lot of damage in this game.
Yeah, immediately being able to prove its usefulness. Now, the Venusaur is now at -2 thanks to that Leaf Storm. You do have a guaranteed chance now to wake up with Metal because it slept 1, 2. Yes, it's going to wake up guaranteed as Heat Wave is connected on the guard shop. Will finally pick up that KO onto the Mega. As now Milotic is more than likely going to wake up and being able to go for something like an Icy Wind to get some speed control, and that is why Genius switched out to his Ferrograph, because right now a Trick Room is looking mighty tasty as well.
Nothing better than switch your Trick Room setter against an Icy Wind, but we know that Talonflame has the Taunt move, so it can prevent Trick Room if it clicks it.
Yeah, it's like you said, like being able to make sure no Trick Room gets set up. You can still click Icy Wind with the Milotic as you are making sure that the Venusaur will be at least one stage slower. And if the Talonflame is able to maintain its health, it is always able to use its prior. Oh no, it's actually not able to attack as long as that Ferrograph is on the field. I just realized.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have any attacking move that's not flying type. So unless it loses some HP in some way, Armor Tail is there.
A perfect example.
Just predicted that that Farigiraf could switch out. So like it's not a mistake, I think. Like
I do think there was a switch. I do agree. I think there was a idea that the opponent might, like Genius might be switching, and honestly would have been amazing pickup there. So Genius trying to see here, making sure to protect their Pokemon and see like what is Samu's plan here as the Talonflame is opting to switch out. It's going into that Basculegion right now. So a dual Wing Beat won't be working. Overheat going into that Basculegion slot right now. Resisted, being able to survive it.
That's a resisted move.
Yeah, resisted, but over 50% at least, as Milotic is going for the Scald and is able to pick up the Q on the Charizard. But this
and now let's see what does the Farigiraf do.
It has to be Trick Room, right? No,
okay,
it's a Psychic.
It's not that hard read, but
picks up.
It picks up the KO.
That is clutch Ferrograph. This Ferrograph has been putting in work, showcasing the power that it has from Scarlet and Violet into Champions. Nothing has changed. Ferrograph still viable. You want a Reg-Eye? Yes, I'm viable. Not Reg-Eye? Still viable. Now, we have Talonflame and Milotic versus this Torkoal, who is able to set up the Sun yet again, meaning this Scald from his Milotic is doing less as well as the Ferrograph is on the field as well. You're able to protect and try to put up Trick Room with the Ferrograph, but in this position, I don't think you really need to. What do you think?
Yeah, because like maybe Samu has not got any big damage into the Farigiraf. Like, okay, he can Scald the Torkoal, which is not sweet KO, impressive, but Farigiraf is looking very, very good here. So he didn't go for the Trick Room because you just KO the Talonflame with Psychic Gateway.
I don't know if that special defense drop mattered because Torkoal is, of course, a very strong Pokemon, and now it's only Milotic versus a Ferrograph, Torkoal, and a Venusaur still, and that is looking really rough here for Samu. I can see, like, I'm honestly impressed how much Skull did still onto that Torkoal despite being a Sun. Of course, Torkoal more physically defensive than specially defensive, as it will protect itself as Milotic is going for the long game. We are recovering and trying to make sure that we are able to find a position that we are able to win in. Milotic now getting hit by Psychic. No drops, unfortunate, because that would have boosted that Milotic special attack there.
Yeah, and also we know that Milotic has to dodge a Leaf Storm, so the drop in special defense would not cause a lot of harm, I think.
Yeah, if the plan is dodging anyway, the dodge might be very important. Like the SPDF drop, not that bad. Psychic coming out yet again onto the Milotic. Let's see if there's a drop. No drop, but the Citrus Berry will heal up this Milotic quite nicely as another Heat Wave is coming out onto the Milotic and bringing it down under half right now. Ferrograph shook over the taunt, is able to set up the Trick Room, but seeing the writing on the wall, forfeiting the game, and that is a 2-0 victory for Genius. The sun has risen once again and proved itself useful right there.
Yeah. It was a very insightful match because we had a lot of key turns that went into the Genius way.
Yep.
Like I think that they played very well, the both of them. But Genius just got the pressure, the offensive pressure advantage, and didn't give Samu a lot of space to try and take the advantage himself. So very strong showcase. We had an advantage on one side, and a player that just tried his best to overcome these
Yeah.
problems, but didn't manage to because of the experience that the Genius had. So like we are 1-0 for the ill server.
Okay, that's already exciting to see. Like score wise, we have a lot of matches still left here, but I do like like how Genius played it because he had like an interesting speed control with the trick room and like with the Venusaur being faster and these teams like it just proves how strong Sun is. Sun is one of the most used archetypes definitely in this format that we've seen already. Trick Room, not as much. So seeing how it still works well together, like Torkoal, like we've seen Charizard, Venusaur quite often, but now even saw Torkoal, Venusaur still putting it in the work there.
Yeah, that's the speed sandwich that caught someone off guard. Like Genius always had the advantage because of the speed of Charizard and Venusaur, the natural
Mhm.
speed of Charizard and Venusaur, but also the possibility, the chance to get the Trick Room up.
Yeah, and you are playing, of course, with a Pokemon less because I don't think you're bringing a Slash in a format with no Terra against these three fire types here. But yeah, well played there. And we can almost immediately move on to the next match here, and that is going to be Desu versus Iceberg. And Desu, we know Desu as well. In 2023, won the Turin Special Championship, has been in 2017 has been the two-time IC finalist in 2020. It was the player in the Player Cup one, was third place as well, and we are seeing another Fluid Eternal.
Yeah, as we said before, like Floette is one of the best megas in the entire game. Was the best, one of the best Pokemon in this meta game. So it's not a surprise to see it very often in these particular games because obviously these are games we wanted to win. So we just play at our best chance, and our best chance could be Floette, but in a very different sauce than in Samus.
Yep.
What do you think?
I think it's interesting because earlier we saw that Fluette and Garchomp being the switching in between the megas, but this is more going that Fluette side being having Calm Mind, Draining Kiss for that recovery as well. And then we have the Corviknight, which is also Pokemon that's so good still in some particular situations, like against some less, but it has an amazing typing with that steel flying typing. It has bulk up, it is incredibly bulky. Mirror armor, just another great tool to have as well. Trying to make sure that the intimidate drops or even icy wind drops get redirected to the opponent. You have speed control with the aerodactyl and the Sinistcha, which are, in my opinion, maybe the premier speed control users with that tailwind and the trick room. You have then the the new fake out bros. I want to say Sneasler and Incineroar.
Yeah. This is like a protect the queen or protect the king kind of
Yeah.
kind of team. But we have here from Iceberg like regional winner in 2023 in Liverpool, and a very strong 2026 season with top 16 in Orlando and UAC. So like a very good player
Hmm.
with a very interesting team. Like we see another double mega team with Venusaur and Delphox.
Okay, I'm already a fan of this because I love that we are able to see a new Mega as well, like next to Fluid. Mega Delphox, as we mentioned earlier, it is quite a good Pokemon because it has that limited ability, so it works nicely next to this Garchomp. And we actually have two levitated Pokemon with a Scarf Garchomp, meaning that you are able to click Earthquake quite a few times with these Pokemon next to it. Of course, you're not gonna hit the Corviknight there on the opposing end, but still, this is very nice to have. You have the core of Incineroar, and instead of like like you do have. I don't want to say protect the king queen, but Roto Wash providing Will-O-Wisp support. You have Incineroar providing Fake Out and Parting Shot and those Intimidates to try and make sure that the Venusaur is able to make sure that it is able to set up like Leech Seed and just wall out the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I really like the fact that this double mega is like when you want to go offensive, you can use Delphox with Garchomp, for example, with Earthquake Heatwave through your opponent's team. But also you can play the long game, the slow game with maybe Venusaur, Incineroar, and Rotom, which I think it's like one of the best FWG core you can build in this meta game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am a big fan of just seeing A Slash again as well. It's a Pokemon that we haven't seen for so long in the since the Mega Evolution era because it's been just Dynamax. It wasn't that much used either, and now having access to being special and physical, you can just choose what side you want to go on with this A Slash, which I really like. So let's take a look at what these players are bringing into this match because we have balance versus, I don't really know what to call Iceberg's team, but I just want to say it's cool. You have a Garchomp, you have a Delphox. You got me hyped already.
Yeah. I think these teams are all beautiful to watch as the six Pokemon. The color synergy is very important to me, and these teams we have just the best colors you can ask for. So like we have Iceberg and Rotom against Incineroar and Flex. Like protect the king slash protect the queen from Desu side, just starting like this, and a support and an offensive Pokemon from Iceberg's point of view.
Yeah, so the thing is, most of the time, Aegislash is one of those Pokemon that can be run physical or special. This is a special Aegislash, so Calmite will lessen the damage that Aegislash can do, but it is still an Aegislash that you will have to respect. As Rotom Wash does threaten Hydro Pump, for example, onto the Incineroar, but Incineroar provides nice protection with something like a Fake Out, as this Floet could go for the Mega and just start a Calm Mind, because it is able to guarantee to survive anything from these Pokemon if it gets up one Calm Mind, because that is the power of Floet.
Just one Calm Mind and one Parting Shot onto the Aegislash maybe just can give Floet a lot of resistance against the Flash Cannon from Aegislash, for example. Yeah, but we see the Fake Out onto Rotom just to preserve, I think, Incineroar's health, which is very important in this game because there is a Delphox, there is a Garchomp to intimidate, and we see Shadow Ball going to Incineroar, so maybe a hard read from Iceberg here. Maybe thinking about a Sinistra, maybe protect and Sinistra just to Rage Powder the Flash Cannon away, or maybe some other things. What do you think?
I am thinking like the Sinistra would, like, it was a hard call for that Sinistra switch in. We've seen a lot of people do that immediately as well because you are no longer hit super effectively by the Hydro Pump. You are making sure that the Floet is able to be redirected the following turn. Because in this position, if your Incineroar is faster than the Aegislash, you are able to still Parting Shot or even just go for a Throat Chop / Flare Blitz onto this Aegislash, because we have a little bit of a mind game, because King Shield protects you from attacks, but it does not protect you from something like a Parting Shot, which will affect it always. We have the Calm Mind from the Floet right now, boosting itself yet again. Rotom going for the Volt Switch onto the Incineroar, just dealing a little bit more chip there, as now the following Pokemon that will move will depend on this turn. Venusaur coming in here, so Venusaur perfectly able to tank a lot of hits here. Incineroar confirmed to be faster, so now we have +2 Floet, -1 Aegislash. This, I don't think Aegislash is gonna do all that much damage.
Yeah. It's looking very, very good for Desu here. Like he managed to stop Floet, and Floet is being ignored for the second turn in a row from Luca. So it's like maybe it's going for a lot of hard reads in this early game, but the slow pace of Desu's plays is paying off here. So
Yeah.
I think Floet is in a very, very good place here, in a good space against two the resistors, but with +2/+2 in his special attack and special defense against two special attackers.
Yeah, it is. It is actually crazy to me that it's being said like Floet is here with two Pokemon that absolutely hit it super effectively, but it's still in a good spot just solely because of those Calm Minds and thanks to that Fairy Aura. A/Slash should fear still whatever move could come out from this Floet. This Floet doesn't carry Dazzling Gleam, but it is able to just Moonblast one of these two Pokemon here as Venusaur is protecting himself and A/Slash will follow suit, it seems. So making sure that if the A/Slash gets hit, it's going to be in its shield form instead of its blade form. Fake Out into that protect and Moonblast into that King Shield, not affecting this turn. But now we are ready to roll as this Venusaur could very well just go for a Leech Seed and Mega.
Yeah, maybe Leech Seed in the long run can do more damage than the Sludge Bomb, but I think Sludge Bomb could be a very good play just to fish for the poison, for example, just to try and get Floet to low HPs and maybe in Earthquake range if there is a Garchomp, but no, there is an Incineroar. So we know the full 4 from Iceberg, and it's not looking very, very good because there are 3 attackers, there are special attackers and Incineroar.
Yeah, Dark Claw going into that Venusaur. It is intimidated thanks to that earlier Spadef drop from the Shadow Ball. Moonblast into the Venusaur. This is resisted. Oh, this is resisted, I want to see, but that is a massive amount of damage still. The Venusaur go with the Leech Seed, trying to keep itself healthy for the following turn. Now, this is something that's also a little bit scary because you do have Draining Kiss on that Floet, so even though you're slowly sapping out the health of that Floet, a Draining Kiss can bring it right back to health, and now you have that mind game of is that Venusaur protecting or not, because a double up onto Incineroar could prove to be quite effective just as well.
Yeah. Maybe Incineroar can do something if the Venusaur doesn't protect. Well, if the Venusaur protects and Floet and Caesar go double on the Venusaur, maybe Incineroar could switch the things around, but it's looking very dire for Luca in this turn to get the right call. It's not easy against a player like Desu, but Luca is a very, very strong player. So if anyone can do it, it's him. So we can see we have the switch Incineroar to Edge Slash, which is immune to every move that Caesar can do, and we have a Protect from Venusaur.
Yeah, Caesar go for the Dark Claw yet again. So let's see what the Floet is targeting. It is going to be that Moonblast into shield for Vegas Ice. Let's see.
This is incredible. This is some Xerneas in BGC 16 kind of things.
That is crazy to see. I'm at a loss for words seeing this much damage be committed onto A/Slash in shield form, I might add. A/Slash does have the nice thing, it does have Shadow Sneak, so it is able to get some, cheeky damage still in before it could get killed here. Venusaur has healed quite a bit, but I don't think enough so that it might survive a double up again, as Sinisha is the one switching in, so we have more healing on this field. Floet now back to full right now, thanks to that hospitality. Moonblast coming out into that Venusaur. Is it enough to just KO it? It is enough to just KO it. Venusaur not a check anymore after a +2 Calm-Minded Floet right now. As now A/Slash is the next one to move. It is going out of its shield form. It is going for that Flash Cannon. Maybe cheeky critical hit, Oh, honestly, still respectable.
Yeah, that's a very good damage, because even if the +2, it's nearly to hit KO, it means that this Floet is trained to just take one Flash Cannon from the +0 and versus +0. So it's very bulky Floet. That's this Floet just says, okay, the type chart, nothing to worry about.
It is nice when you just get to ignore the type chart here. It's funny seeing that after coming out of Terra format. But okay, we have the Incineroar on the field. It is able to fake out the Flood, trying to make sure it is not able to move. and your A slash should be able to shadow ball the Sinisha. It is just the remainder of the turns. What do you do after? Because that Floette is the fastest Pokemon on the field. We've seen it be faster than the Rotom as well. So it is looking very rough, because if you are unable to find something that can survive at least one Moonblast from his Floette, I don't think there's a lot of things you can do being in Iceberg's position.
Yeah. This Moonblast just gets so much damage into the field, and I don't think Luca has any favorable trade. Like, okay, maybe you can get one hit KO'd with Moonblast, but you do nothing in return, and that's the real problem here. Like, Floette is not unbeatable in this meta game, but you have to guarantee you some positive traits, and I don't think Luca in this safe position in this game has any favorable trade to hope for. You can say.
Okay, that lead seed still paying dividends, putting that Floette right below half. So if you had a position where Desu didn't go for Protect, for example, and you did go for like Flash Cannon plus Fake Out on the Floette, that Floette would have been gone here thanks to that lead seed. But that is, of course, like, we're speaking hypotheticals in that regard. I am thinking that, okay, Iceberg is seeing the writing on the wall and just said, like, okay, no, let's go to game 2. We've assessed enough information. We know how much damage I get from Leech Seed. We know how much +2 Moonblast does, apparently, as well. So let's see, what is our counter plan? What is our idea here? And yeah, it is easy to say, like, don't let the Floette get to +2, but with a Incineroar that is able to fake you out at any time, it is rather hard.
Yeah, double fake out, redirection, and also offensive pressure from the from Desu side from the Pokemon that are not Floette. Like, you have Sneasler that deals a lot of damage to Incineroar, Venusaur. Maybe Luca can switch Mega. Like, okay, Mega Venusaur was not the play. Maybe we can do Delphox because of the immediate pressure he gets. It gets to spread. So maybe this could be the key for this game too. But it's looking very, very hard to overcome as a
Okay, it is going to be that Venusaur yet again. So this time in the lead, so it is able to immediately threaten something. We have the Intimidate coming out from Desu's Incineroars first, as the Incineroar from Iceberg seems to be moving slower. That is still unconfirmed, as this could just very well be a speed tie. But now with Venusaur immediately in the lead, you are able to potentially immediately go for that lead sheet, immediately go for that Sludge Bomb. Try and make sure that this Floette is not able to set up at least 2 times in a row.
Yeah. If Floette goes +2/+2, it's like nothing you can do anymore, because it's too hard. So maybe just trying to slow it down in this setup could be the key to win this game and have the game 3 that we at home all deserve to watch between these 2 amazing players.
Yeah, the Megas are activating. There we have it. Floette going with that Fairy Aura, making sure that it is able, you get a stat boost anyway. Even if you go for a Protect, you can always go for that Mega Evolution plus Protect. Try and make sure that you're able to get in a position where you're able to get bigger stats. Like, why say no to extra 100 base stats, right? Incineroar go for that fake out onto the opposing Incineroar so Desu's indeed being faster. Calm Mind coming out from the Floette. Let's see what the Venusaur has in store. Is it just going to be a Sludge Bomb or a Leech Seed here, or predicting a Protect coming out? It is Leech Seed, but it dodges it, unfortunately. Oof.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Like, maybe this Leech Seed miss could just be the game deciding turn in like the first turn of the game, but this Floette just got to 1+1/+1 free.
Yeah, and nothing really stopping it to doing it again, but actually opting to protect itself for this turn, as Venusaur go for that Leech Seed once again onto that Protect, and now we will see more likely Venusaur going for a Throat Chop here, trying to make sure that there's no Party Shot coming out, as that is exactly what's happening, as the Party Shot did not come out, meaning that right now this Incineroar was stuck on the field and is can only really be hard switched out in this position. So
Yeah,
we
these 2 turns couldn't go worse for Luca here, and because just he didn't do anything at all in the first 2 turns of this game, and sometimes in Pokemon this is just too much to handle.
Yeah, +1 Moonblast, not killing the Incineroar just yet. It is able to heal itself a little bit thanks to that Citrus Berry. So very nicely there. We finally have the lead seed onto the Floette. Very important that we're able to finally manage to connect that, as now party shot from the opposing Incineroar into that Venusaur, trying to reduce the damage that this Venusaur can do, even with something like a Sludge Bomb or Giga Drain, whatever you want, really. Just trying to make sure that this Venusaur is able to do less and less damage. Sneasel comes in, unthreatened by a Intimidate from the Incineroar. Incineroar just going for the Flare Blitz here, doing some damage, but with a Intimidate. And honestly, thanks to that lead seed, it is going to do over half. So, you know, that might be worth it. Oh no.
Yeah. Here Luca is realizing that the leech seed chip damage that gets every turn from this Floette is more valuable than a single Sludge Bomb, and I think it's the correct way to address this Floette problem. So like with a lot of moves on the Floette, you can get it low and hope to KO it, like with this Flare Blitz, with this Leech Seed, with this not protect from Venusaur, like hoping not to get faked out, I think.
Yeah, hoping to not get faked out in a position where you can protect maybe later as well. Incineroar was stuck on the field, and now Draining Kiss will heal this Floette for quite a bit, as it will just get its HP stolen just a little bit again by that Venusaur. Following Pokemon that can switch in could be very well be the Aegislash. We have seen within this position, it is not the worst of positions yet, because that Floette is not at +2/+2. It is right now only at +1 special attack, +1 special defense. So the Pokemon of choice is that Garchomp.
Yeah, it's very odd as a choice, because Aegislash would have been a lot better here, but maybe it is maybe we can say that maybe Aegislash is not in this game. So this Garchomp switch in could mean that Luca wants to address the Sneasler, but we see that Garchomp is going for the switch, and there is an Aegislash. So
yeah, okay, this was a bait and switch. Yeah, this is a bait and switch, because right now with this Intimidate, you would remove the damage that the Garchomp is able to do. You switching out a Pokemon that is resistant to this Draining Kiss right now, meaning that Venusaur is now completely free to attack as it wants to. Sludge Bomb coming out. Let's see how much it is doing. Quite a bit, but not enough to bring it below half. But with the Poison and the Leech Seed, this Floette has now fully been put on a timer, as the Aegislash is threatening a KO on it, as well as both these Pokemon are able to protect the following turn, or the Aegislash is able to just target into that Incineroar slot, hoping for a party shot to come out.
Yeah, very, very impressive turnaround here, because with this turn, with this bait, you just called it right, Luca just had a little bit of advantage here, because Mega Venusaur just looks amazing in this position, because Floette doesn't get to do a lot of damage with the +1/+1, and there aren't so many things that go against Mega Venusaur in Desu's team.
Yeah, protect from the Floette and King Shield from the Venusaur. No protect from the Venusaur, just going for another Sludge Bomb. Let's see, another cheeky Sludge. Nope, Flare Blitz into that Aegislash slot, meaning that the attack from the Incineroar will drop just a little bit. And now Leech Seed once again, Poison once again. This Floette is getting chipped down, and thanks to keeping itself into shield form, will be able to survive something like a Moonblast from this Floette just as well. The Incineroar is still like a double up onto the Aegislash is very likely to happen. Could prove to be effective to remove the Aegislash, because Aegislash might be the key really to deal with the last Pokemon in the back foot on this side, because you have the Garchomp with Earthquake being able to deal with the Sneasler, but what do you do after?
Yeah. We are looking to a very interesting end game, because I think that Desu had the initial advantage, but now Luca is driving on the front seat, but
Yep.
we
forgot Shadow Sneak. Yes.
we know that Floette goes down for the first time in this best of 3.
Yeah, that must feel satisfying as another lead sheet coming out. Onto that is Incineroar right now. Incineroar is able to go for the Flavage KO the AE slash right now, but will damage itself thanks to that Flablets and the lead seed. There's still 2 more Pokemon on the suicide, but the Garchomp is a Scarf Garchomp and will be able to lock itself into a move, like for example Earthquake, being able to deal super effective damage onto the Incineroar and super effective damage onto the Sneasler as well. We know that the Incineroar is Chopo Berry and not Shuka, so might be a case of trying to reposition here as Sneasler comes out, providing a fake out onto the Garchomp for 1 turn as the Incin is able to switch out and maybe switch back in later.
Yeah, everything depends on the last Pokemon from Desu's side, because we know that Luca is in his 2 last Pokemon in Garchomp Venusaur. He has to choose now which move the Garchomp will use until the end of the game. Okay, no, this is delayed from the pick out, so next turn he will have to choose which move to use, but it all depends on the last Pokemon, because if it is like an Corviknight, for example, it could be impossible maybe for Luca to win, instead of maybe with just some Leech Seed shenanigans, but we don't know.
Yeah,
So
if it is Corviknight,
we're going to see right now.
It is going to be that Sinistcha. Okay, so Sinistcha, thanks to with its hospitality, is able to heal the Sneasler. You are now at -1 with your Garchomp. If the Incineroar switches in, it is -2. The Incineroar is quite low, so that will at least be KO'd. But you don't really need to yet, I feel. Like you could, for example, protect with your Sneasler, go for a Matcha Gotcha, try to get a cheeky burn with the Sinistcha, trying to make this Garchomp as useless as possible, because Sneasler still threatens neutral damage with that Direct Claw. You still have the Incineroar being able to provide Fake Out at least, and maybe even a Flare Blitz. It is against Thick Fat Venusaur, but it's still neutral at the very least.
Yeah. This Venusaur just had to do the performance of its life to be able to win this end game. But there is a Garchomp here that goes for Earthquake and damages its own Venusaur in the process. So very good protect here from Desu's side.
Yeah, and there's a Sludge Bomb coming out, trying to get maybe a cheeky poison here. Matcha Gotcha coming out, hitting both targets. Let's see if we have a cheeky burn here on any of these Pokemon, as Sinistcha will heal just a little bit thanks on that Venusaur, and a little bit more thanks to that Garchomp neutral. No burn, meaning that this Garchomp can Earthquake once again, KO the Sneasler or KO the Incineroar that might be in the back. So this is just having to choose which one of these Pokemon will go down, and I do think the Incineroar switch is imminent.
Yeah, there aren't so much drawback into sucking Incineroar here. Maybe I don't actually remember how many HP does it have, but like
it is quite low. Yeah.
It was very low. Maybe.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was in orange. If I recall correctly, so a little bit lower, but yeah. So being able to switch in right now is one of the options that you have. Like, Iceberg also has to think, like, what are you going to do with the Venusaur? Venusaur actually opting to protect here. We don't have a switch here. Garchomp go for yet another Earthquake. This is only at -1. Is it enough to KO this Sneasler right now? Go for the Earthquake. Not enough to KO it. 5 HP remaining, meaning that the Sneasler is able to move here right now. Critical hit on the Sinistcha. Oh my god, a lot of things happening. Close combat up to the Garchomp. Will be able to pick up that, but the Ruskin will pick up the Sneasler, meaning that it is Venusaur versus the world.
Yeah, and I don't actually know who can come on top of this, because there is a very low Incineroar, but we know that Venusaur has -1 in special attack, so like maybe some crit here or there, some cheeky burns from Sinistcha. There are a lot of possibilities, but I think Luca has the game in his hands with this Venusaur. But there are Incineroar and Sinistcha, 2 of the best supports in this metagame.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So they have to do the dirty work.
Let's see. Okay, so we have the immediate flinch. Matcha gotcha. You need a burn to try and make sure that this Venusaur is not able to do all that much. Like, you are trying to win the game. We do get the burn with the matcha gotcha. Venusaur will flinch as well. Sinisha will heal just a little bit. It is not carrying something like Life Dew. It is matcha gotcha, protect, reach power, trick room. So this Incineroar is able to deal damage once more. Sludge Bomb will most likely kill it. It might even survive, but then you still have the
maybe
Sinisha
with the
to go up
-1.
against. Yeah, it's close. Venusaur is actually opting to use Incineroar as a health pack. It is Leech Seed onto that Incineroar. Matcha Gotcha coming out again. This Incineroar is incredibly slow, moving slower than the Sinisha as well. Critical hit, or the Sinisha is just incredibly fast. Actually, I should say. As the Incineroar is going for that Flare Blitz. Ooh!
I think that it will be very difficult for this Venusaur to win this end game now in this state because of the fact that Sinisha is immune to those Leech Seeds. So
Yeah.
that burn just will become clutch in a couple of turns.
Yeah, so you can protect here once with the Venusaur, and then you need an immediate Sludge Bomb burn. The good thing is Matcha Gotcha can miss, but the Venusaur is incredibly low. So there has to be a little bit of luck here from Lucas' side. But honestly, this wouldn't be Pokemon if that wasn't possible. Venusaur is going for the protect, so that means one more Leech Seed will be sapping that remainder of the health onto that Incineroar there. Sinisha is going for that Trick Room, trying to make sure that it will hit the Venusaur at least faster for 3 turns even as Leech Seed. And now we have a Venusaur a little bit healthier, but still very much burned.
Yeah, maybe Luca just thought that the right path to victory was to hope for a Sludge Bomb crit onto the Sinistra.
Yep.
And we're going to see in a while. Okay.
Okay. We're
there
back.
was maybe a problem with the record there, but it's the
Sinisha going for protect. Oh yeah, you just wait a little bit longer. You just go for protect, trying to make sure get it lower. And now single target Matcha Gotcha coming out onto the Venusaur. This is doing not that much, but like in the long game, it will do enough. So this Venusaur needs immediate crit, sludge bomb, or poison. Honestly, respectable damage. We forgot the citrus berry. It's even it's longer as well.
This Ninja just won't go down.
No. This is 2 grass types fighting it out right now. One being able to burn, one being able to poison. Like, honestly, if you have 2 house plants, this is what it looks like when they're fighting each other. So, protect coming out from the Sinisha. Sludge Bomb yet again. And yet another turn of burn. And Venusaur is very low. This is in range of a Matcha Gotcha. Sinisha just can't miss. And then Venus, if there's a miss and maybe a crit Sludge Bomb poison, we don't know. It might happen. The odds are not there, like not that much there, but it is Pokemon. Everything is possible there, mathematically at least.
yeah. If it's not 0, you have to go for it. Matcha Gotcha. Matcha Gotcha misses.
That's one thing you
Giga
need.
Drain.
Giga Drain.
Keep up for 1 turn more. One more turn.
Does that actually
for
work?
Venusaur, maybe.
19. Yep.
But, okay, no, yeah. But now it's just like Sinisha can just protect for the win. And we have a 2-0 from Desu's side, like, showcasing why Floette is like one of the best Mega in this game. But in this second game, it showcases that Incineroar and Sinistra can bring it on for ourselves.
Absolutely. These 2 Pokemon have been left and right on every team for good reason, because they provide the support. But as we saw, still the necessary damage that you need, because even a slight burn that can bring the game completely into your favor. Because if there was no burn, I like very well that Venusaur could have won that end game there. That Flare Blitz from that Incineroar still did quite a bit of damage onto that Venusaur as well. So maybe with some other ideas, but I think that Luca thought that the Venusaur was unable to kill the Incineroar with a Sludge Bomb. So thinking about that, going for Leech Seed, trying to get the health back, and hoping that the Incineroar itself wasn't going to do as much damage as it did, but unfortunately, it did do that. Um, so we saw the support pieces of double fake out, redirection, and healing thanks to hospitality and Floette just reign supreme here. Now, Iceberg got a little bit unlucky with that first lead seat miss. Maybe that, but like that is like the immediate first turn of the game, so that was really hard. That's really hard to say, like if that was completely game deciding, but it couldn't have helped at the very least.
Yeah. But props to Iceberg to have played such a very strong game, because he made that first turn look like a slight inconvenience instead of a major problem, and
Yeah,
he was able to sell hard his game, and he really tried to win anyway, and he almost managed to do it. Like it
yeah.
was a very hard end game, and it made it harder for Desu to bring it home. So it was a very good game from the two players, and we want to see these games in this exhibition match.
Yeah, exactly that. So a little bit of reveal of the score here as we see. So we are gonna reveal like we've seen Desu versus Iceberg and Genius versus Samu, but we have two other matches that we are able to reveal as well. We as we see Sven versus PX there, and we have Shabarai versus Areku Sabi. Sorry about that. Also, both being won by Team Z. So actually tying up the score. We won't be able to see these on the live stream right now, but do know that these were probably just as hype, and we are not even done today yet because we have two more matches today, and then Sunday we even have more to showcase as well. So we're just excited, right, William?
Yes, yeah. We are tied 2-2 because of the two reveals, but they were such interesting games too. But we just don't have the time to show it all, because of course there are a lot of matches, and we can just say that when you have the some of the best players in the world, every match counts, and every match is hard to win. So props to Sven and Arkuzabi for winning it for Team Z, and we can just go to think about the next matches that
Yeah,
we are going to showcase, because we have FedeCampo here. You are an
yeah.
NIC champion in 2025. You are Dansk regional champion in 2025, and of course, world semi-finalist in his first Masters Worlds in 2023.
This is the absolute peak of VGC. So Fede also got first in the game in with the in-game ladder with this team as well. Floette Eternal, Garchomp, King Gambit, Bascalegius, Niesler, Frostlass. We are seeing yet again the double mega right now. So instead of now being Garchomp and Floette, we have Frostlass and Floette. Having different roles in that regard. Frostlass still is a somewhat faster Pokemon as Floette. Wait, this is actually Floette is not even running Calm Mind. This one, this was actually Light of Ruin. That is actually I would have loved to see that animation. I've yet to see that animation play. I've only seen Moonblast and Draining Kiss and Dazzling Gleam. So I kind of want to see that animation.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
like a one hit KO button to the majority of this meta game.
Yeah,
Like
and we've seen
you
this
just
core
don't need
before.
calm mind when you just can KO everything. And
That's true.
we know Fede just plays a little offensive teams. We can see King Gambit, Basco Legion is Niesler, which is a very offensive core, a very offensive and synergic core. With the Floette to glue them with those powerful special attacks.
Yeah. I am a big fan of Bascalegia, seeing that it was Citrus Berry. So let's see on the opposing side, Raxen here. Liverpool regional first place in 2024, Bologna special event top 4, and in 2024 just as well, world's top 16, and we are seeing Gengar Mega. And Gengar Mega, I'm very excited about because these games tend to be quite interesting and very position based. We have dual weather Paris song, and more most importantly of all, I just want to point this out. There's a Weavile, and I love Weavile.
Yeah. I think Weevil could be a very interesting pick in a meta game where you have so much dragons, like for example, just Garchomp. We can see in the Fedez team, and with no Terra available, when you are weak to ice for a four times weakness, you just can't do anything to face it. So I think Weevil could be a very interesting pick with Mega Gengar that suffers a lot from Garchomp. We have three of the four weather in this game because we have the snow from Mega Flood, and we have Politoed and Torkoal. Like you can just choose which
Yeah.
weather to use with your Gengar, but also with your weather ball in Venusaur. That can be a water type with Politoed or a fire type with Torkoal. And with the grass nuts, you just have the three elemental moves in just one Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, this is your starter. It's just Venusaur. The all right. The coolest thing that we have to mention: this Venusaur is carrying that charcoal item, boosting fire type moves. So that means that its weather ball is even stronger, probably for some specific targets to have there. Um, to
Yeah,
use
maybe I
which
can see it will be very good against King Gambit, maybe,
yes, true.
which is a very major problem for Gengar. Uh,
Yeah.
and having played Gengar myself, I just know I hate King Gambit when using Gengar. So yeah, we have a very interesting team, and we want to see these interesting teams in this show match. So props to Raxen. He really cooked hard with this,
Yeah,
and
honestly, this is
I'm
just
just
impressive.
excited to see
Yeah.
what he could do while using this team.
Yeah.
So let's
I
begin.
just want. Let's begin. Honestly. Alright, FedeCampo versus Raxen. Game 1 Basque Legion Tamer as well. Um, I just want to see what the idea is. Weavile and Gengar in the leads here. Gengar immediately threatening to going with that mega shadow attack. As we mentioned earlier, King Gambit is an issue for Gengar a lot of the times, and there's also a ghost type as well. Being that Frostlass, making sure that it is still able to switch out despite the ability of Mega Gengar, which is Shadow Attack. Weavile providing support with still something like Fake Out, and trying to make sure that this King Gambit, at least for one turn, won't be able to move.
Yeah, so we see that Floet won't be in this game, probably, because when you have a double Mega team, you choose one Mega and the other stays on the bench. So it's like a triple weather for the audience. We can hope, and I think that the position here is like you have a lot of damage on the field if you are FedeCampo with Gambit, but there are some super effective moves on your Frostlass.
Yeah,
so
Frostlass
goes for the Mega Evolution.
Yeah, immediately setting its weather up for itself. We know it's Blizzard, Shadow Ball, and substitute. Weavile going for the Fake Out immediately onto that King Gambit. Gengar not going for the Mega here. Instead, getting hit by the Shadow Ball and will just be KO'd. Oh, it seems that Raxen timed out for this turn. So that Gengar not going for that Mega Evolution, immediately losing your Mega Pokemon there, one of your strongest tools, is a little bit devastating to say the least.
Yeah, it happens to the best because I think that playing Pokemon Champions, the timer and the input lag of the commands, like it will be difficult to adapt to them coming from Scarlet and Violet. Me myself, I had problems playing in these last days with this input lag. And so maybe when there are 5 or 4 seconds left, you just have to choose, or else the game will do it for you.
Yeah, so immediately if you are in this position, not the greatest, but let's see if Raxen is able to gather some information at the very least, like what to do. King Gambit is going for that low kick into that Weavile slot, not affecting it this time, as Incineroar is now able to go for the Flareblitz into that King Gambit slot, doing massive amount of damage, but not enough to KO just yet. Weavile does threaten the King Gambit with a does threaten the Garchomp with an Ice type move, as the Incineroar can, with another Flare Blitz, KO the King Gambit. But from the speed interactions, we already saw that this King Gambit is in fact faster than the Incineroar.
Yeah. And props to Raxen to not give up in this position, because losing your Mega turn 1 without doing anything could be a very psychological hit. And but these players are good players, are top players, because they have mental strength, and they saw a lot of harder position than this one. So I think it is a very good good exercise for you to try and play these games, even if the first turn was that bad. So like we have a Koto clip onto the Weavile with the snow boost into its defense, and King Gambit goes down. So like we are 3 against 3.
Okay, so once again, this is a position that's still feasible. You do have the Iceberg crash. You do have a lot of information that has been gathered already by Raxen. Like if Raxen immediately forfeited after that Gengar KO, you wouldn't have known yet that if the King Gambit was faster than the Incineroar, and now you're getting that information. Basque Legion comes in, and both of these Pokemon are quite threatened by by the Weavile here, and the Frost Ice in the back as well. Something like a Dark type move onto the Basque Legion and Ice Cube Crash onto the Garchomp could prove to be quite effective. The Basque Legion's last respects not really affecting it all that much, but a Wave Crash is very powerful. Ice Cube Crash into that Garchomp will of course pick up that KO, 4 times effective. Garchomp can survive quite a few things, but I do not see it surviving this as it goes down.
Yeah, that HP bar was very speedy, very fast. And so we have the Weavile that goes down, and the Incineroar that part-insert the Basque Legion, which is now at -1. And we have Raxen with his 2 last Pokemon being Incineroar and
Politoed. Okay, and because Politoed switches in first thanks to the parting shot, that means that FedeCampo will keep its snow boost there with the Frost Ice switching in just now. There's no weather for this Politoed. It is able to still go for something like a Weather Ball. It is just going to be, a little bit less effective in that regard. Incineroar has the Intimidate off onto the Basque Legion, but a Wave Crash plus a double up from something like Blizzard could prove to be too much for the Incineroar.
Maybe you just can't also fake out anyone here. So it's like a very tricky position for Incineroar. But maybe the win condition from Raxen could be the Parry Song, because Politoed is obviously the slower between Frostlass and Basque Legion. But he survives because of the -2, and this Parry Song could be the decider of this match.
Okay, so Parry Song and Incineroar go for the party shot. So this endgame still undecided yet. The Politoed did get a special defense drop thanks to that Shadow Ball from earlier. We know that the Incineroar does have Protect as well. You are trying to make sure that you're able to get through these 3 turns, because Politoed and the Incineroar are the 2 slower Pokemon here, unable to really hit this Basque Legion right now, because Flare Blitz is the only attacking move onto the Basque Legion, as well as Weather Ball. So both resisted by this Basque Legion, but as long as this Basque Legion is on the field, it is able to deal quite good damage. This is hard, but not impossible, I like to add.
Yeah, there is the triple protect way that
the magic,
it's just there, and maybe it will be the only hope, because of that the speed drop, the special defense drop, making it impossible to leave another Shadow Ball. I think that Raxen could just go for a triple protect attempt with these 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, and that little bit of magic. Also, also this Protect very important, because with that leftovers, even at a -1 special defense drop, a Blizzard could, like if Politoed, depending on how it's trained, maybe it is able to survive a Blizzard and then could protect the following turn again. This is why the Frostlass itself is going for those Shadow Balls. Basque Legion is at -2, so it is if it's not able to pick up the KO onto this Incineroar this turn, like if any of these 2 Pokemon can survive, another Protect could prove to be useful. Shadow Ball going into that Politoed will be able to pick up the Politoed here. So it's all dependent on this Basque Legion right now.
Will this -2 Wave Crash go all the way to get the zero. It does not. It does not.
Not enough indeed. Isidore
Not
surviving on
enough.
21 HP. Citrus Berry, and that means you're able to get a Protect off the following turn, meaning that both these Pokemon will go down to that Perish Song. Their Perish can fell to one, and now a singular Protect. Even the first turn going as abysmal as it did, with that Gengar immediately getting KO'd. Somehow Raxen brought this back with honestly a position that I did not believe was able to be gotten out of. But Lord and behold, I'm casting this, not playing this.
Yeah. When some of the best players in the world face each other, you just can see these impossible things. Like, okay, I just misclicked turn 1. Let's think about game 2. But no, Raxen here, Raxen Perish, just was able to overcome this difficulty, overcome this problem, and an Incineroar protecting is there watching Basco Legion and Frozlas go down from that little frog song.
That's amazing to see this. Like, okay, it doesn't even show the Incineroar going down. Okay, that's actually really cool that they updated it like that. Absolutely perfectly played by Raxen. Honestly, well, apart from turn 1, but apart from turn 1, absolutely amazingly played. Like the positioning and like being able to get off the necessary damage as well. We saw the count-out cleave from the Kingambit going into that Weavile slot. If it was like a low kick, the Weavile would have survived on 1 HP because it was Sash, but predicting maybe a switch in there or like any other thing that could have happened. So being in these positions, so right now I'm just thinking, okay, if the Gengar did Mega Evolve, what would have happened? And I'm just excited to see what would the adaptation be from FedeCampo here. What do you think?
Yeah, that Gengar would have been, I think, faster than maybe the Frozless would have gone for a substitute maybe, or a Shadow Ball into the Frozless, giving the fake out from the Weavile that would stop the Kingambit. But we just have to wait a couple seconds to see what Raxen could have done in that turn. But here in the game 2, leading in the same way that in the game 1.
Yeah, same leads from game 1. Adaptations, I can see like the Kingambit just protecting, or even a Frostlass trying to keep their weather for later, because we are quite sure that something like the Politoed might be in the back. Gengar going for that Mega, trying to say you are now officially locked in here with me, and we see the Gengar Mega evolving first. So it should be the fastest thing, as the Frostlass is the second one to Mega Evolve right now. Getting a speed boost just as well, but that Gengar has a little bit more speed, tends to have a little bit more speed in that regard. Snow Warning activates. Weavile going for that fake out, so it is following suit from that same turn of game 1. And the Shadow Ball from the Gengar into this Frostlass. It is able to survive. It is!
Yeah, obviously trained for this specific move, because you just know that Gengars are faster and stronger. Ooh. But we have the same turn between the two. Like, okay, I am super effective against you, you are super effective against me, and let's just Shadow Ball each other and go from here.
Yeah, let's both drop each other's special defenses, and now both being in a position where they're both being able to be KO'd by the Pokemon on the other slot. Weavile could go for another move to KO the Frostlass, as well as the Kingambit is able to go for something like Sucker Punch or just Count-Out Cleave into the Gengar, because Gengar is unable to substitute anymore. It still has Perish Song to, for example, to click, but in a position like this, maybe a little bit harder, I want to say. As long as that Kingambit is still on the field as well, it is able to deal good damage to the Pokemon left and right of it. Gengar is the one opting to switch out. The Frostlass could just as well switch out as well. It is Incineroar with that Dream Ball and that Intimidate. So that means Kingambit's Defiant will activate and get a +1 boost, as the Frostlass is just as well switching out.
Yeah, Gengar very important for a late game trap or a late game shadow ball once the King Gambit goes down. And Frostlass very important to deny the rain to Politoed maybe. So both players here deciding to save their Mega and going for the fake out Pokemon of their own. So
Yeah.
very, very mirroring moves, even if using very different Pokemon, everyone. So like
Yeah.
it's the ghost type and the dark type in the game, and then switch the Mega into the fake out. So like it's very, very mirroring, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like even Weaver's cousin from Hisui is here, right? Like Sneasel.
Family
let's-
reunion here.
Yeah, family reunion. So fake out into that Weavile. Now it's Sash will be broken. King Gambit going for the countdown cleave, so that means nothing else coming out. Countdown cleave doing quite a bit of damage to Weavile, but not enough to kill it just yet. Incineroar just opting for yet again a Flare Blitz. We know already that it wasn't enough to kill it, but still, this is necessary damage that you need because this King Gambit is still a threat. The Incineroar is very much threatened as well from something like a close combat from the Sneasler. We saw the Gengar switch out first. That means that this Sneasler still has its own, has its full attack because the Intimidate did not affect it right now. So, right now, the speed stats on these Pokemon are a bit ambiguous, as Weavile and Sneasler, depending on their training, either one of them could be faster than the other.
Yeah. So it will be very important to see which one will go first, and it is Weavile that with his Iceberg Crash,
Crit.
with a critical hit,
Okay.
just gives Sneasler the use of its Focus Sash and the use of its ability Unburden.
Oh!
But
And the flinch!
that was just a late fake out for Weavile.
A late fake. Low kick coming into the Incineroar. Incineroar still being able to survive. Flare Blitz into that King Gambit and is able to pick up the Q. Suddenly everything went really well for Raxen there as FedeCampo is suddenly put in a very awkward spot with Process at low HP, his Sneasler at 1 HP. Now the good thing is Unburden at least activated. That means that next turn your Sneasler will be the fastest Pokemon on the field. It is able to guarantee a KO onto this Weavile because it lost its Sash as well. Basque Legion can as well pick up a KO onto the Incineroar slot as well. Gengar, not really a switch in for either of these Pokemon, either as a Direct Claw, like you could, Direct Claw could still pick up the Gengar as it is very low, and as well as a water move. So, despite that last turn seeming to go absolutely terrible for FedeCampo, this is still not over because we saw what happened in game 1. This might just as well happen for FedeCampo.
Yeah. So like this Gengar was in Aqua Jet range, was in Dark Claw range. So here Rax just sucking this Gengar in this position. But we see a double protect from FedeCampo just to maybe to see what would Raxen do, and he is in a very good position here because you just have the KO on Gengar with Aqua Jet and the KO on Weavile with Dark Claw or Close Combat if you think maybe Incineroar can be in
Switch
the game in this turn, like can switch in this game in this turn.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. So still not the as the Weavile is faster. Wait, did I look at this wrong? It is Poison Touch.
It is Poison Touch.
It's Poison Touch.
We got it wrong, dude. We just assumed because every Sneasler I face is Unburden, but then this is Poison Touch, and it didn't even activate once.
Yeah, that is mental to see. So that's why that flinch was even more devastating right now. Incineroar still on the field. You still have your Aqua Jet being able to kill that Gengar, and now it is Frostlass, your two ghost types, up against what is that Incineroar and yet another Pokemon in the back. Now there won't be any weather control, meaning that right now from FedeCampo's side, like you will not have your snow. That means those blizzards will not be as accurate as you want them to be. And on the other end, we have Politoed making sure that its weather will be wet, as Snow Warning will activate and the Drizzle will activate. Now, you do get a little boost, into the Basque Legion, which is nice, because now all your Water type moves do a little bit more. positive
Yeah,
negatives.
but maybe this is time for a little song again, because we can think that it will be very difficult for Basque Legion and Frozlas to get this politude in just 3 turns, considering you just can't ignore either Incineroar or Mega Gengar in the next 3 turns.
Yeah, switching out. Gengar back in again. Polito, go for that protect here right now. You want another Intimidate onto this Basque Legion, possibly. Frostite is going for the Shadow Ball. Let's see if it was a double up, actually. Yes, it was a double up onto that Politoed. Since if you're able to remove that Politoed, that Incineroar is able to fire, but it's the Frostite. But that Basque Legion threatens everything still. So now Incineroar can switch in yet again for that Basque Legion to drop its attack to -2. Trying to make sure that this Politoed is able to survive any sort of hit in that endgame. But that is still rough because you need to be able to survive Basque Legion, which is one of the biggest damage dealers that we've had in VGC history.
Yeah, those last respects gonna go very hard, because maybe if Frozas goes down, it will be very powerful, like a 150 stab move. But we can see the Intimidate cycle that we all go to appreciate in those Scarlet and Violet era. And we see Incineroar go down from the Aquajet, if I saw it well. Yeah, it was Aquajet. And then, so it's like Politoed against the world here with this Perish song. No special defense drop, which could have been very important here to get. But we have a little frog with its little leftovers.
Yeah,
and this is a song.
Yeah, and now we're in the end game yet again. The Gengar is able to switch in. It's not able to survive a Aquajet. I don't believe it will. Like, even at -2, this is still in the rain. Adaptability boosted Basque Legion. Like, I have seen Gengar survive quite a bit of stuff, but this I do not believe. And
no,
Frostite is able
Gengar
to.
is a beast, but this one is too difficult even for it.
Yeah, the rise of the ghost types. There's actually like 3 ghost types right now on the field. While Politoed, like, still just staring forward, wondering, okay, what's gonna happen here? Gengar going for the protect, trying to get another turn for this Perish song, which is absolutely key and what you want to do if you are Raxen right now. Aquajet into the Frostite killing itself right now, trying to, flex.
No, maybe we can think that Basque Legion has to take the Shadow Ball and crit the 150 last respect into Politoed. This is what I believe is the thoughts that passed through FedeCampo's head here.
This is ginormously brained. Shadow Ball coming out into the Basque Legion. Is it able to survive it? It is not, unfortunately. If it was able to survive it, it could have gone with a full power last respects onto that Politoed, KO that, and then go for the Aquajet into that KO. But that is a victory for Raxen, and that is a victory for Team Z once again. That was an absolutely big brain play. You're right. I did not see that line of play. That's actually really smart. So if you were able to survive that Shadow Ball, Gengar is a very frightening Pokemon. Still,
you know that Gengar couldn't be max special attack because of the Shadow Ball damage onto the Frozlas, and because of the Shadow Ball damage of Frozlas into the Gengar. So like it was the only option for Fede, because in the next turn, if he didn't Aquajet, Gengar would have just Shadow Balled the Basque Legion, and no last respect for FedeCampo's there. So okay, with this, Raxen cooked hard with his team, but delivered harder with the first turn timeout into a very convincing 2-0 into FedeCampo, one of the best players in the world right now.
Yeah, like I'm actually flabbergasted. Like, we've seen like a lot of these tournaments running things like, Floet. So you have your standard 7-foot Sun, and then Raxen being able to bring something like this and proving that it is very strong and needs to be respected against a strong player like FedeCampo as well, as you mentioned. This is why we have this. This is just an amazing thing to showcase here. Why these players are defining the meta in that regard. So we are going to reveal another score here, another game here. We have now 2 versus 3 for Team Z, and that means that we have our following score, which will be Maris versus Keanu in just a bit here. As Keanu has won 2-0, meaning that Team Z is now 4-2 right now. Team Z taking the lead here.
Yeah, a very convincing lead because starting 2-0, but then never give up. So like we can see that it could be their motto for now. So like
Mm-hmm.
4-2, it's a very strong showing of how strong are players of Team Z. Like going for a 2-0 from Kinu into Maras and
Yeah.
giving a very good game, but unfortunately we can't just show every single game. And so just know that Kino played very, very well. So props to him and props to Team Z for going 2-4 until now.
Yeah, so absolutely flipped on its head, Team Z, proving that it is not going go down immediately, and we have fun, good for you guys as well. For those people at home, we have yet another match soon enough as well, and then this Sunday as well, we have even more matches to showcase. So despite that we're not able to showcase every match, we are still able to showcase at least a few of these. And honestly, till now, all bangers. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but as the chat can read just in the last seconds, we have one of the most important matches of this showcase. Would you have the honor?
Mhm. We have world champions Siri VGC 2020, 2024 world's first, our world champion, Italian world, one of our two Italian world champions, 2022 Stuttgart regional first, Bologna 2024 special event, second place, coming here against Giovanni Siske. And we have Sun, Charizard, Incineroar, No Venusaur, Aerodactyl, Sylveon, Ferrigraph, and Garchomp. Okay, first off, this team already looks amazing because there's a close combat Incineroar on the field.
Yeah. You just have to hate Tyranitar if you're playing Mega Charizard. And with no Sneasler inside, someone has to do the job, and Incineroar can just do everything in this meta game.
That's actually true. Incineroar, the toolbox Pokemon used for its many tools and now close combating as well. Still carrying that Chopo Berry, being sure that it is able to survive a fighting type move from a opponent. And another thing I need to point out, there's Hyper Beam Sylveon as well. The absolute destruction that this Pokemon can provide with a Hyper Beam. This is Pixelate, Fairy Feather boosted Hyper Beam. There's not that many Fairy Resist in this metagame as well that resist something like that, and a heat wave from the Charizard. Why I don't believe there's actually anything that can survive the onslaught of that power. These two powerful special attackers.
Yeah, that Sylveon that goes like, we have a Floette at home when you just want to Mega Charizard every game.
Yeah, just have you have the Sylveon, and it's nice because you have the tail room, you have Aerodactyl with Tailwind, and Aerodactyl is also a very nice Pokemon against the meta, being provide dual wing beats for the focus sash users, being Venusaur and Sneasler, something like that. Rock Slide just hitting opposing
Yeah,
Charizard
yeah.
wise, and Farigiraf with the Trick Room, and Armor Tail. We have to mention it. A lot of people rely on Fake Out, and Farigiraf being able to shut that down is also a great tool as well.
Yeah, this is a very Seri team because he won worlds with Farigiraf, a very strong special attacker, and the Tailwind, and Fake Out, and the strongest physical attacker. And
Yeah.
then he also won Stuttgart with Farigiraf, uh, a Sun Setter, a Sun Abuser, a Trick Room, a Tailwind. So, like, it's very Seri. It's a Luca Ceribelli team all over the place here.
Yeah, so let's see what we are up against. This is the battle of the world champions. And on the other hand, we have, of course, Polar Bear 2025 world's champion, 2026 Houston regular top six, and Portland also top eight as well. So I said top six for some reason. But okay, we have a Meganium. I'm so happy. These players have come to play. They are providing us so much sauce right now. I love this.
Yeah. I just had so much expectation on this show match between Server and Team Z. Also because the best players, some of the best players, the best minds in this world, just had to cook, and Team Z cooked very hard here with Meganium, with Charcoal Venusaur we saw earlier, and yeah, here Polar Bear just brings us Meganium with Arcaldon Basculigion Pelipper, which is the infamous trio of Regulation H with a little bit of nerf into Archaludon, not having the Assault Vest and not having Body Press.
Yeah, that's one of the first things that I feel like Rain players apps noticed as well. Still very strong, like cannot be underestimated. But that is why a lot of these Pokemon teams have been opting a lot. Like I feel like this, especially like the Megas being like mainly special as well. So something like Archaludon is still very much threatened. If you're able to get a stamina boost going, that is very nice on the defensive end. But yeah, this is a great team to start off with because you have the Rain, but Meganium, thanks to its Mega ability, Mega Soul, will be able to instantly fire off those solar beams and fire boosted weather balls as if the sun was on the field. So let's take a look at what these players will be bringing. And we will have the awesome soundtrack as well being played right now. Siri versus Polar Bear, the Clash of Champions.
Yeah, it just can't get better than this. Uh, I'm training here. Two of the best players in the world, and we have Charizard and Sylveon, two of the best attackers, special attackers, against Basculegion and Archaludon. So no rain, no sun in this moment, but we just can't say anything about the next turn. What will happen? What will happen?
This is interesting because I've been playing a lot of Adam and Basculegion. So with Adam and Basculegion, even in the sun, a Wave Crash can KO opposing Charizard if they have no bulk invested, which has been working quite well on me for the latter. But these are world champions. They must be prepared for something like this and thinking about it. Charizard is the one switching out here, trying not to get hit by something like a strong Choice Scarf Wave Crash here right now. As the Intimidate is effective mid flip turn, going into that Sylveon slot. Is this just going to be Flash Cannon flip turn right now, or flip turn into that Pelipper and making sure that a Electro Shot can come out, making guarantee that the weather has been
here.
Okay, Meganium! Yes! Flash Cannon going into Sylveon. Sylveon surviving. That means that Sylveon now gets one move off. What is it? It is going to be that Hyper Voice. And honestly, very respectful damage as the Archaludon just a little bit over half, as the Meganium has been hit for quite decent damage at the very least as well. Now, both these Pokemon still relatively healthy. Incineroar providing fake out support on either of these Pokemon, as we might see a reposition here from Luca. What do you think?
I think we can just assume that the fourth Pokemon for Polar Bear will be the Pelipper here, because of the obvious weather war and the fact that you brought Meganium, which is very weak to the heat waves from Charizard. Here, Sylveon is in a very tricky position because it can be KO'd from by Meganium and Archaludon, and you only have one fake out available. But maybe the fake out from Incineroar is not the right play here, because okay, you can fake out, but then what do you do next turn? So let's see what these players have in mind in this particular position.
Mega Evolution from Meganium first. Protect from the Sylveon. Let's see. The adaptation is going to be Flash Cannon just into that Sylveon. Don't really minding if there was going to be a fake out into that Archaludon. And no Protect from the Meganium neither, as it is going for that dazzling gleam, meaning that now Incineroar is able to reposition itself, going for that partner shot into that Meganium, dropping its special attack at the very least. Trying to get in a position where Charizard can be on the field, because if you are switching out one of these targets right now onto the Pelipper, the Rain will activate first, but the Mega Evolution will go second, meaning that you are able to hit something very hard with a Heat Wave. So
Yeah,
let's
this
go
is
a little bit deeper. A double protect from Luca seems very likely to me to just scout it out, I think.
Yeah. This is a very, very, very powerful mind game here from the two world champions, because the protects here are obvious from each side. You can say because if you're Giovanni, you can double protect into predicting the Mega from Charizard and then take the Pelipper in. But if you're in Luca, you can just delay the Mega Evolution, thinking of the protect. So it's a very difficult position from the both of them, I think.
Yeah, this is Bluff Wars. Charizard going for the Protect here right now. Let's see if we see Protect from the opposing end. Yes, Meganium going for the Protect, and let's see if the Archaludon as well is going for that Protect here. Is just going for that Flash Cannon once again onto the Ferrograph this time. And now you're still, like, right now, because at least the Meganium did protect itself, you're sure to hit at least one of these Pokemon with a strong Heat Wave, for example. There could be a switch out to that Basculegion in that slot, but maybe an adaptation could be that the Ferrograph tries to cover for that, tries to see what it is able to do in this position, because the Archaludon has just been on the field and has just been flash cannoning right now. So do we see the Mega? Yes or no? I think very likely. What do you think?
Yeah. There is so much pressure to go on in this turn with the Heat Wave and the Psyshock on the Meganium, maybe, or also a helping hand could be the play, because you can bring the Pelipper in, but the Pelipper would just take a lot of damage from the Heat Wave. You can bring the Basculegion in, but also the Basculegion take a lot of damage. So very interesting play here from the actual reigning world champion Oliver Giovanni Fusche, to just let the Meganium go down. Okay, Meganium, you just did what you had to do, the chip damage into the Incineroar, and here we see the Trick Room. So very, very interesting choice here. Maybe to counter the Basculegion switch in, not accounting for the Meganium sack, because here you just can bring Pelipper in and just attack everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, yeah, I do think that. I think this is trying to get in an end position where the Sylveon is able to do some work. The Sylveon will be able to do some work because within Trick Room, it is unable to get hit by Aqua Jet from Basculegion. So you want this Ferrograph to stay very much on the field for the remainder of the game, because Sylveon and Ferrograph next to each other being able to go for Helping Hand plus Helping Hand Hyper Voice seems like a right idea to do right now. So the rain is up, the Pelipper is in. Pelipper threatens both these Pokemon with a lot of damage, and a double up onto the Ferrograph could prove to be useful, because the Charizard not that threatening right now. So I do think that right now a double up onto the Ferrograph is relatively safe to do. Lucas' plan is to try and get that Sylveon in within this Trick Room, but it is Giovanni's idea to try and prevent that. I think that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe the Charizard switches out and the Ferrograph can, for example, protect to the double, but the Charizard slot is like very easy to double in this case, thinking about the Incineroar that can come in. This Electro Shot is very important to boost the special attack, and because this is the most powerful move that Archaludon can go for against this Ferrograph. And we can see that the Flash Cannon plus the Electro Shot doesn't get the KO, but it ensures that the next Flash Cannon can, even if the Charizard switches in. So there is the KO into the Incineroar, the prepared KO against the fairy giraffe. I think that Sylveon can be in a very interesting space here, but the Arcaludon, I think, based on the turn one Hyper Voice, I think
Yeah.
Arcaludon is not in range of helping and Hyper Voice, but
No.
it is in range
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Hyper Beam.
We want to see it. We all want to see it. Honestly,
want to see
please
Hyper
let us
Beam.
see.
Come
We
on.
want to see Hyper Beam, Pixelate, or Sylveon Hyper Beam, mixing blue and red, purple, like absolutely devastating damage to be able to come out. As Psyshock did good damage onto the Pelipper just as well. You're able to have 3 more turns of Trick Room. The Basque Legion is Choice Scarf as well. So when the sun comes up, your Charizard is in fact slower in within Trick Room. So if you're able to Hyper Beam the Archalala, Psyshock the Pelipper maybe to KO or maybe Hyper Voice to try and KO that. If you're able to remove these 2 Pokemon, it is looking very good. But we are seeing the Archalon go for the Protect here. We have the Psyshock from Ferregraph. Is it enough to KO this Pelipper? It
not
is
enough.
not. So
It
Hyper
was an
Beam,
Hyper Beam.
but it's going into the Protect, unfortunately, here. Weather Ball from the Pelipper into that Ferregraph, trying to make sure that that is at least gone already. Charizard can come in, but it is now restricted because it is faster than the Pelipper. The Pelipper can still go for something like a Weather Ball into that Sylveon slot. Hyper Beam will absolutely decimate the Archalon slot, as a Heat Wave will pick up the kill on the Pelipper. What is Giovanni's idea here to prevent this? So I just click it again. Hyper Beam, show it to me. I just want to see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. We just want to see Hyper Beam. No win, no losses. We want to see Hyper Beam. It's a show match. Show us Hyper Beam. Now, okay, I think Hyper Beam is like maybe also the best move you can go for here. So like it's not only for the crowd, us being the crowd, but it's maybe the most important thing you can do to address that Arcaludon, because with
Yeah.
those leftovers, turn after turn, a little bit after a little bit, it regained every single HP
Yeah.
it lost, or maybe the majority of it. So you have this switch out, maybe ensuring that the Sylveon just have to stay calm for their next
Yes!
turn. At this
Hyper
is the Hyper
Beam!
Beam. This is a Dragon Ball level animation here.
That was beautiful to see. Basque Legion going down. Pelipper still on the field. It can go for the Weather Ball and kill the Sylveon, but it's going for Weather Ball into that Charizard slot here, trying to deal just a little bit of damage, meaning that Charizard right now is able to go for something like a Heat Wave or a Solar Beam right now. Solar Beam will be able to pick up the kill onto that Pelipper right now, the Sunbeam right now, and now it's a lone Archaludon versus Charizard Y and a Sylveon.
Yeah, but with no rain in sight, I just don't think that this Arcaludon can do the trick against a very bulky Charizard in special defense, and a Sylveon that has to recharge from that spectacular Hyper Beam of the last turn.
If we think that Dragon Pulse is able to kill the Charizard, but the Charizard can safely just go for Protect, I feel, as Flash Cannon is just going into that Sylveon. No Protect from the Charizard. Like, for example, if this Archaludon was Draco Meteor, it could have Draco Meteored the Charizard and then gone further with the next turn, which was Flash Cannon onto the Sylveon. But now Weather Ball onto the Archaludon, just enough to devastate it, and it is gone and out of here. This first game is going to Luca, and very well played. We are seeing Weather War live here.
Yeah, what a game!
What a game!
What a
Yeah,
game!
we saw Hyper Beam. We're already happy, right? Like that's what we
Yeah,
want.
yeah. But also we saw a lot of I think there are a lot of hard turns to watch, to read, and I just can't think about how hard would have been to play them. So like I think we have two of the best players ever that
Yeah,
ever played this game, that showcased a very incredible game one, and I hope the game two at least can be at this level.
Yeah, so we like rewatching this team as well. We've seen like the options here working out quite well. The tail room as well, especially because Charizard is going to be faster than most of these Pokemon, except for the Basque Legion and the Sneasler. As on the lower end of the speed, we have Ferrograv and Sylveon being one of the slowest Pokemon, being able to work very well in that Trick Room, and that Trick Room proving to be quite useful for Luca here, getting that end game position where it was able to win there. I do think that with an adaptation of two from Giovanni, just able to swing it back. Because honestly, Giovanni played that absolutely masterful as well. And I think these players will now evolve into the next stage of this game, because game one was just feeling each other out. Game two will be them absolutely popping off and trying to see having reads upon each other. So game two, what are the leads?
Yeah, maybe there is an adaptation in the four Pokemon that every player brings. Like you see the game one going one way, and for example here there is a switch in, like Garchomp instead of Sylveon in the very first turn of this battle for Siri.
Yeah.
And maybe thinking that Arcaludon was a problem for Sylveon outside the Trick Room. So Garchomp could be a very good turn one Earthquake abuser.
Yeah, just you can just Earthquake like Earthquake and Charizard and Garchomp work quite well together with having that flying typing and just the offense of Heat Wave and setting up the Sun here. Pelipper, not really a good switch in to come in here, meaning that the Sun is all but guaranteed. Charizard going for that Protect here, trying to scout out here what the plan here is. Archelon as well going for that Protect. So are we just going to see a flip turn yet again? Basque Legion for the flip turn. So that means yet again, you can't switch in your Pelipper just yet. If Luca did go for that Mega immediately, that would have been a perfect position to then switch in the Pelipper. But now you are forced to go to your Meganium, as this Garchomp is able to Earthquake, which is resisted, of course, by this Meganium. And now we are yet again in a position where you have to consider, like, okay, this Charizard will Mega, will be able to have his turn of Sun guaranteed, as the Archelon did protect itself and is unable to protect again.
Yeah, this is a very, very good position for Luca here, because you can just Heatwave, Earthquake, and nothing in the Giovanni's team can handle that. So very good adaptation from game one, and for Giovanni's side, this turn one was a little bit obligated. Like you just had to flip turn and go to the Meganium, because of course of the weather war. You just can't go to Pelipper. You had to go to Meganium, but Meganium is weak to Charizard. Yeah, you can protect here maybe to just stall out, just not to give the double KO to Lucas, because it will be very detrimental, like very game deciding. So I think we can maybe see a protect here from Meganium. Yeah, we see. That doesn't Mega Evolve. Maybe remembering of the Terra, that you just can't Terra and protect.
Yeah.
But you can Mega Evolve and protect in some cases, and this one was maybe one of those, but just like
sometimes you gotta say no to the 100 boost stats. You're like, not now. It's okay. It's cool.
Yeah. You have the Heat Wave that goes into the Arcaludon, maybe hoping for a miss here.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I have to suck the Arcaludon, but hoping for a miss, maybe with the Dragon Pulse onto the Garchomp, or maybe onto the Charizard just to chip damage there. So very good position for Luca, very tricky position for Giovanni, that now can go with the Pelipper maybe, or the Basque Legion, hoping to get the Pelipper in the Meganium slot. That having Mega Evolved in the previous turn would have been optimal, I think. To switch
agree.
out, because you can switch in as a Mega and not as a regular Meganium.
Okay, so Basque Legion, the one switching in, you are able to just go for another flip turn and try to get your Pelipper later in, because that is one of the things that, of course, Luca has to consider. Like, Pelipper can switch in, can shut down these powerful Heat Waves, can shut down a lot of stuff as this Meganium is able then to survive, most likely a heat wave in that position. But yeah, if you do that, then the following turn, like if you switch out the Charizard and come back in later, you're losing the Weather War because the Pelipper isn't able to switch out all that easily compared to how this Charizard is able to do that. So I think there will be a next level play and trying to see and scout out here to get a potential KO. Meganium going for that Mega Evolution right now. So deciding, okay, this is the time, this is the moment. Dazzling Gleam could very well pick up the KO onto the Garchomp. We have Flip Turn coming in from Basque Legion into the Charizard with quite a bit of damage. Not enough to KO just yet, but Pelipper being in the back means that whatever move that this Charizard might go for will be diminished thanks to that weather.
Yeah, it has the weather ball, maybe that can do a little bit of damage onto the Pelipper, which is targeted by the Dragon Claw and doubled up on with the weather ball. That can be enough to
it is!
the KO. So like using the rain of Pelipper itself against itself. Like okay, you can switch the weather all you want, but this turn is mine.
Yeah, that is devastating to say the least. Now, we do have something interesting. So, all the Pokemon except for the Basque Legion and Meganium are down. You are able to lock yourself into last respects depending on what Luca has in the back, because most likely it will be that Farigiraf yet again. So if you lock yourself into that last respects, that means that the Farigiraf is able to switch in safely onto that Charizard slot. But a Wave Crash could prove to be effective as well for now until that Charizard switches in back in again. So what do you do?
Yeah, a very tricky position. But I just can think about the fact that if in the previous turn Basque Legion went for a flip turn into Charizard while switching Meganium into Pelipper, Meganium would have eaten the Dragon Claw and Basque Legion would have KO'd Charizard with a flip turn under the rain. So it was a very key moment in this best of 3, in this game 2, to have targeted the Charizard, and a very key moment for Luca to not have protected there. So like here we have the Farigiraf switch in, maybe hoping for a last respect. No, okay, there is a
wave crash.
There is the wave crash.
Yeah, and that will just pick up the KO. Charizard is also quite low, so another wave crash could be enough to just end the game there. And then it is these two fairy types still facing off against each other. Meganium go for the Dazzling Gleam, of course, into that protect here right now. So another wave crash from the Basque Legion into the opposing Charizard will KO it. Despite the sun being up, because this is still Basque Legion. We have to like adaptability boost and everything. And then it is just Meganium versus Sylveon, the newfound fairy type versus the first fairy type revealed. So
yeah,
who comes up on top there?
Maybe if Basque Legion is in range of Hyper Voice, you can protect Charizard and go for a Hyper Voice with Sylveon, hoping not to be doubled up from Basque Legion and Meganium, because I think that maybe Wave Crush, okay, it's under the sun, but it's adaptability from Basque Legion. And Solar Beam, which is a very powerful move to go for the Meganium. Yeah. Maybe if Sylveon doesn't survive the double up, we have a 50-50. If it does survive it, we just have the safe play from Luca, which is Protect and the Hyper Voice. Because Basque Legion can go down from the Hyper Voice after the recoil from Wave Crush if it goes into the Sylveon. So we have this Protect play.
On the Charizard.
Wave
Crash going into Sylveon!
Against for the Sylveon!
Okay,
and now the Sylveon just have to survive the Solar Beam.
Is this enough? Is this enough? Is this enough? Solar Beam going into that Sylveon slot. Is it enough for the KO?
After 30 years.
Oh my god, Meganium proving itself useful right now. Solar Beam into Sylveon. It is not enough! It survives on 3 HP!
And Legion goes down. And now there is a very simple play of weather going to the Meganium, but what a game we had. What a match, what a showcase. I'm thrilling.
Yeah, this was incredibly close. This could just as well have been a KO and a win for Giovanni's side there. So Absolutely hard call to make there because, of course, that is something that you need to call. Is that Charizard protecting or not? And Giovanni banking on the Charizard protecting, going all in onto that Sylveon, but that Sylveon having been trained enough in that HP stat and defense stat to be able to survive that, and that gives our our current world champion a loss against previous years right now. But honestly, that could have gone either way. That was an intense set. Wow.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. What an ending for this evening showcase. Because this, I want to remember you this to remind
Yeah.
you, this is the first part of the show match, because we have a second part ready to show you for Sunday, for in 2 days at the same hour. And it was fantastic. Like this 3 HP survival was one of the most intense moments
Yeah.
I ever seen here.
And we're only at the beginning of Pokemon Champions right now, and we're having these kind of matches already, these nail biters already, and that is only early meta. So that means like when this meta develops even more by these expert players that we've seen time and time again perform well in tournaments, this will only get more interesting left and right. We've seen so many different megas today already as well. The current score now as well being 3-4 for Team Z still, but we like as you mentioned, more matches to see this Sunday at the same time as when this stream started as well, and way more matches to be seen as well. So honestly exciting to say the least. I'm very happy that we already were able to start with these amazing 4 matches to reveal like what we have still in store on Sunday.
Yeah. Being this early in the meta game, I think that it is very interesting to see what these amazing player are been thinking about. Like we saw a lot of megas, a lot of
Yeah,
different megas. Even if we knew that the best megas were like Floette, Gengar, Charizard. We saw
yeah.
Floette, Gengar, Charizard, but we saw Meganium, we
Garchomp.
saw Garchomp. So
Yeah.
and we saw that we watched Garchomp mega evolve. So like
Yeah.
it was not only the item. It was like we saw Mega Garchomp
Yeah.
in 10 years of career. I never saw Mega Garchomp in game. So I was very excited. It was an unfortunate match for the Garchomp, but like it was a showcase of how this meta game can be very interesting
Yeah.
to build teams that can really underline and highlight some niche Pokemon, some niche megas, and I'm just very excited for this
Yeah.
game, for this regulation MA, and the next tournaments, the next matches of this showcase,
Yeah.
which I remind you, it will be on Sunday, same hour, same time.
Yeah. So yeah, with that, guys, we are almost done here. We're just gonna say our goodbyes. So again, this Sunday, you come back here again at the stream. You're able to see the remainder of these, like more matches, more amazing matches, and nail biting matches that we've had already. We will be back with casters as well, and we hope that you guys will be there just as well. So with that, I'm good to say goodbye. So from me, see you on Sunday. And William, you have any final parting words?
Yeah, I have no words anymore. Like we just
Yeah,
said everything we could say, and I'm just very happy to have cast this show match. I was very excited. I was a little bit tense, but thanks to you for having
I
me and
you were amazing.
guiding me
Generally, you were
through
generally
this
amazing.
experience.
You were amazing. Like you did great, and I felt the excitement absolutely. But
Yeah. I
thank you for
just love
casting with me.
Pokemon,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we just love Pokemon,
We
and
just love
matches
Pokemon.
and games and matches like this are maybe the one form of art for me. So
Yeah,
I was very happy to showcase how much we can do in this game, and how strong some of the best players in the world actually are.
yeah, fully agree. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all on Sunday.
So see ya.